Jake's fingers froze mid-search, clutching a folded receipt that didn't belong in his wife, Ava's coat pocket. Emerald earrings, $2,143, addressed to him, Reynolds in Chicago, a city they'd never even discussed. His pulse quickened. Ava's casual lie about it being a favor for her boss didn't add up. That night, her phone buzzed face down on the counter, and Jake's gut screamed, something's wrong. This wasn't just a receipt. It was the first crack in the life he thought he knew. Jake, a 32-year-old software engineer in Denver, had always been the steady one. He was the guy who left Ava her favorite almond milk latte on the counter before heading to work, who planned quiet weekend hikes to clear their heads, who never missed their weekly movie night. Ava, a freelance graphic designer, filled their small apartment with laughter and late-night brainstorming sessions, her creativity balancing his logic. They'd been married 4 years, together for 7, and Jake thought they were solid. Not perfect, but real. Until that receipt. It was a Tuesday evening, and Jake needed his spare car key. Ava was on a Zoom call, her voice muffled behind a closed bedroom door. He rummaged through the hall closet, checking her green wool coat, an old thing she wore maybe twice a year. His fingers brushed something stiff in the inside pocket. Not the key, but a neatly folded piece of paper. Curious, he unfolded it. The receipt was from a Chicago jewelry store, dated 3 weeks ago. Emerald stud earrings delivered to M. Reynolds. Total, $2,143.56. Signature required. Jake's stomach twisted. They lived in Denver. No friends in Chicago, no family, no reason for Ava to be mailing luxury jewelry to some guy he'd never heard of. He stood there, receipt in hand, as Ava's laughter echoed from the bedroom. She sounded light, carefree, the way she used to when they'd stay up late talking about nothing. Jake's first thought was innocent. Maybe she bought herself a gift, had it shipped oddly to surprise him. But the name, M. Reynolds, didn't fit. A man's name, not a store, not a company. His mind raced. Why hide this? Why Chicago? He slipped the receipt into his pocket and found the key in another jacket, his hands moving on autopilot while his brain churned. Later, over dinner, takeout tacos, Ava's choice, she was scrolling her phone, barely glancing at him. Jake set his plate down, voice casual. Hey, found something weird today. A receipt in your coat. Earrings, sent to Chicago. Some guy named Aunt Reynolds. He watched her closely, expecting a flicker of surprise, maybe a laugh. Instead, Ava didn't miss a beat. She sipped her water, eyes steady. Oh, that? It's from my boss. He needed a gift for his nephew's graduation. Couldn't make it to Chicago himself. Asked me to handle it. Forgot to toss the receipt. Her words were smooth, practiced, like she'd rehearsed them. Jake nodded, forcing a smile. Got it. Just seemed random. But it wasn't random. Her answer was too quick, too clean. No hesitation, no nervous laugh like when she'd once tried to hide eating his last slice of pizza. That Ava would have blushed, fumbled, grinned. This Ava was different, calm, almost robotic. He changed the subject, asked about her day, but his mind was elsewhere. Who was M. Reynolds? Why hadn't she mentioned her boss's nephew before? And why did she need to ship jewelry across state lines for a boss she barely saw in person? That night, Jake lay awake next to her, her soft breathing filling the silence. He replayed her words, her tone, the way her eyes didn't waver. He thought about the past few weeks, how she'd started keeping her phone face down, silencing notifications. How she'd been working late, more often, claiming client calls but never shared details. How she'd stopped reaching for his hand during their walks. Small things, easy to dismiss until they weren't. He told himself he was overthinking. People get busy. Marriages hit lulls. But his gut wouldn't quiet. The next morning, Ava left early for a client meeting downtown. Jake watched her car pull out, then grabbed his phone. He wasn't proud of it, but he opened their shared bank app. No $2,000 charge, no jewelry purchase. If she'd paid for it, it wasn't with their money. That made it worse. He scrolled through her Instagram, something he rarely did. Nothing unusual, just her usual artsy posts, a sketch she'd finished, a coffee shop selfie. But then he saw a story from her friend Mia, posted last night. A quick clip of clinking wine glasses at a trendy Denver spot, bistro. In the background, reflected in the window, was Ava. Not a work call, but at a table for two, smiling at a man. The clip was 3 seconds, but it was enough. Her smile wasn't professional. It was warm, intimate, the kind she hadn't given Jake in months. His chest tightened. He saved the clip before it disappeared, watching it again, then again. The man's face was blurry, but his posture, leaned in, attentive, felt like a punch. Jake didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, he opened a notes app and started typing. Asterisk October 14th, Bistro, 8:47 p.m. Ava with unknown man. Mia's story. Asterisk, he wasn't sure why he was documenting it, but it felt necessary, like gathering evidence for a case he didn't want to believe was real. Over the next few days, Jake became hyper-aware. Ava's client dinners increased, twice that week, both downtown. She'd come home late, humming, her cheeks flushed. Long day, she'd say, heading straight to shower. Jake noticed her phone's passcode had changed. When he asked about her day, her answers were vague. Just work stuff. He checked the car's mileage once, out of curiosity. She'd said she was at a local coffee shop for a meeting. The odometer showed 22 miles. The shop was 3 miles away. On Friday, Ava announced another dinner, this time at a place near the Riverwalk. Big project, she said, grabbing her keys. I'll be late. Jake nodded, said nothing. After she left, he pulled up Mia's Instagram again. No new stories, but he scrolled through her older posts. One from a month ago caught his eye, a group shot at a gallery opening. Ava was there, laughing, her arm linked with a man Jake didn't recognize. The caption, Creatives Night Out. No tag for the guy, but Jake zoomed in. Same build as the man in the bistro clip. Same posture. He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he dug deeper, checking Ava's LinkedIn, her work calendar, anything public. Nothing linked to Chicago or M. Reynolds. But the receipt burned in his mind, tucked into his desk drawer. He pulled it out, reread it. The date was recent, too recent. Whatever this was, it wasn't a one-off. It was ongoing. Jake's trust, once unshakable, was crumbling, and with it, the life he'd built with Ava. He wasn't ready to confront her, but he was ready to find the truth. And he wouldn't stop until he had it. Jake's phone lit up with a notification from Ava's shared calendar. Client dinner, Riverwalk, 7 p.m. His jaw tightened. The Instagram clip of her laughing with a stranger at Bistro still looped in his mind, and now her work excuses felt like a script. He wasn't just suspicious anymore. He was certain she was hiding something big. Tonight, he'd dig deeper, not to confront her, but to uncover the truth she thought he'd never find. Jake, the 32-year-old software engineer from Denver, had spent the last week quietly cataloging Ava's inconsistencies. The $2,143 receipt for earrings sent to Reynolds in Chicago. The blurry Instagram story showing her with a man at a romantic dinner. The changed passcode on her phone. Each clue stacked like kindling, and tonight's client dinner was another spark. Ava left the apartment at 6:30, humming as she grabbed her purse. Don't wait up, she said, her voice light but clipped. Jake nodded, his face neutral, but his pulse raced. He waited 10 minutes, then opened his laptop. He started with their shared cloud drive, something Ava rarely used since switching to a new laptop. Jake had admin access, a detail she'd likely forgotten. He scanned her folders, finding nothing unusual, mock-ups, client briefs, until he stumbled on a hidden subfolder labeled Miscellaneous. Inside was a single PDF, a hotel confirmation for a weekend in Chicago 2 months ago. The booking was under Ava's name, one guest, paid with a card he didn't recognize. Jake's chest tightened. She'd told him she was visiting her sister in Boulder that weekend. He'd even called her sister to check in, and Ava had answered, claiming spotty service. Another lie. He cross-checked the dates. The Chicago trip aligned with the receipt's purchase date. M. Reynolds wasn't a random name. It was someone she'd met there. Jake's fingers hovered over the keyboard, debating his next move. He wasn't ready to hack her accounts. That felt too far. But he opened her old email, still logged in on their shared browser. A search for Reynolds pulled up nothing, but Chicago revealed an email from a travel app. Rate your stay at the Drake Hotel. Attached was a photo Ava had uploaded to the app's review portal. She was in a hotel lobby, smiling, her arm around a man whose face was cropped out. His hand rested on her waist, casual but possessive. Jake saved the image, his hands steady despite the churn in his gut. He needed more. Jake opened Instagram again, this time checking Ava's tagged photos. A post from a coworker, Sarah, showed a team dinner from last month. Ava was there, seated next to a man with dark hair and a familiar build. The caption, crushing it with the crew, Jake zoomed in. The man's hand was under the table, out of sight, but Ava's body was angled toward him, her smile too warm for a colleague. Jake cross-referenced Sarah's followers, finding a private account, M_Reynolds 88. No profile picture, but the bio read, * Chicago-based. Creative director, * his throat went dry. M. Reynolds wasn't just a name on a receipt. He was real, and Ava knew him well. Jake's phone buzzed. A text from Ava. Meeting running late, grabbing drinks after. It was 8:15 p.m. He opened the bistro's website, the restaurant from Mia's Instagram story. Their reservation system showed no bookings under Ava's name or her agency's. He called the restaurant, posing as a client, confirming a group event. The host checked. No groups larger than 4 tonight, and no marketing teams. Jake hung up, his suspicion now a certainty. She wasn't at a client dinner. He drove to the Riverwalk, parking a block from Bistro. He wasn't stalking. He told himself he just needed proof. The restaurant's floor-to-ceiling windows gave a clear view of the candlelit tables. There she was at a corner booth, laughing with the same man from Sarah's photo. No laptops, no portfolios, just wine glasses and share plates. The man leaned in, touching her hand. Ava didn't pull away. Jake snapped a photo through the window, his hands shaking but his resolve firm. He didn't go inside. He didn't need to. The image was enough. Back home, Jake added to his notes. * October 21st, Bistro, 9:03 p.m. Ava with M. Reynolds. Photo saved. * He checked the car's mileage when Ava returned at 10:45, her perfume sharper than usual. Good night? He asked, keeping his tone light. Yeah, productive, she said, avoiding his eyes as she headed to bed. Jake stayed up, transferring the photo to his laptop, backing it up to a private drive. He wasn't building a case for her. He was building it for himself, to anchor his reality when her lies tried to rewrite it. The next morning, Ava was up early, claiming a gym session. Jake noticed her gym bag was empty, no water bottle, no towel. He checked the mileage again. 18 miles round trip, when the gym was 5. He didn't confront her. Instead, he emailed a locksmith to schedule a visit and started researching divorce attorneys. The receipt, the photos, the messages, they were pieces of a puzzle he no longer wanted to solve. He just wanted the truth, and with it, his freedom. Jake stared at the photo on his laptop, Ava laughing with him. Reynolds at Bistro, their hands touching across the table. His evidence was undeniable. Receipts, messages, hotel bookings, now this. The lies had piled up, and tonight, he'd confront her. Not out of anger, but to end the charade. As Ava's key turned in the lock, Jake steeled himself. This wasn't about saving their marriage anymore. It was about reclaiming his truth. Jake, the 32-year-old Denver software engineer, had spent weeks unraveling Ava's deception. The $2,143 receipt for earrings sent him. Reynolds in Chicago, the Instagram clip of her cozy dinner, the hidden hotel confirmation, all pointed to an affair she'd buried under smooth excuses. Last night's photo at Bistro, catching her with Reynolds, was the final piece. Jake had changed the locks that morning, the locksmith's quiet efficiency matching his own resolve. He'd packed Ava's essentials into a suitcase, printed key evidence, messages, the hotel PDF, the Bistro photo, and sealed them in an envelope. He wasn't planning a fight. He was preparing for closure. Ava walked in at 10:50 p.m., humming softly, her purse slung over her shoulder. She froze when she saw Jake sitting at the kitchen table, the suitcase by his feet, the envelope in front of him. "What's this?" she asked, her voice cautious but steady. Jake didn't answer right away. He slid the envelope toward her, his eyes locked on hers. "Open it," he said, calm but firm. She hesitated, then picked it up, her fingers steady as she tore it open. Her eyes scanned the pages. A screenshot of her chat with Reynolds. I hate pretending around him. The hotel confirmation. The Bistro photo. Her hand under his. Her composure held for a moment, then cracked. Her shoulders stiffened. Her breath caught. "Where did you get this?" she asked, voice low, almost accusing. "Does it matter?" Jake replied. "You've been lying for months. Chicago, Reynolds, the dinners. I saw you last night, Ava." That wasn't a client meeting. He kept his tone even, but every word carried the weight of his hurt. Ava's gaze dropped to the papers, then back to him. For a second, he thought she'd deny it, spin another story. Instead, she laughed, a short, brittle sound. So you're spying on me now? No, Jake said. I'm seeing you. Finally. He gestured to the suitcase. I changed the locks. You can take what you need. We'll sort the rest later. Ava's eyes widened, but she didn't move. You're kicking me out? Over this. She waved the envelope, as if it were a parking ticket. Jake leaned forward. This isn't about a receipt or a dinner. It's about you choosing someone else. Every day, every lie, you chose him. Ava opened her mouth, then closed it. Her defiance faltered, replaced by something softer, almost pleading. It wasn't supposed to be like this, she said. Michael, he was just there. I was lonely, Jake. You were always working, always distracted. Jake's jaw tightened. Don't, he cut in. Don't make this my fault. You didn't talk to me. You built a whole life with him instead. He stood, pointing to the door. You need to go. Now. She didn't cry, didn't beg. She grabbed the suitcase handle, tucked the envelope under her arm, and walked out. The door clicked shut, and the silence that followed was deafening. Jake sat back down, staring at the table, the weight of the moment settling in. He'd expected rage, tears, something, but this quiet severance, felt heavier. He poured a glass of water, untouched, and let the reality sink in. His marriage was over. The next morning, Jake woke to a text from Ava. I'm sorry. Can we talk soon? He didn't reply. Instead, he opened Instagram, half expecting her to have posted already. Sure enough, her story was up. A dimly lit selfie, her eyes glistening, captioned, "Sometimes you have to lose to find yourself." No mention of him, no context, just a vague nod to heartbreak. Comments poured in. Stay strong. You deserve better. Jake's stomach churned. She was rewriting the story, painting herself as the victim. He saved the post, not for revenge, but to remind himself how easily she could twist the truth. By noon, his phone buzzed with a message from their mutual friend, Ethan. Saw Ava's post. You okay? Jake didn't respond. He didn't trust himself to explain without unraveling. Instead, he called a divorce attorney, scheduling a consultation for the next day. He spent the afternoon clearing traces of Ava. Her coffee mug went to a donation box, her name removed from their streaming accounts. Each step was deliberate, like cutting ties to a life that no longer existed. That evening, Jake drove to the River Walk, not to chase Ava, but to clear his head. He walked past Bistro, its windows glowing with new couples, new stories. His phone buzzed again, a notification from Sarah's Instagram. A new post, Ava at a bar, clinking glasses with Michael Reynolds. The caption, New Beginnings. Jake's grip tightened, but he didn't react. He screenshotted it, added it to his notes. October 22nd, 7:14 p.m. Ava with Reynolds. Public post. The audacity stung, but it also clarified something. Ava wasn't just moving on. She was erasing him. Jake returned home, his resolve hardening. He wasn't going to play her game, posting counter-narratives or airing their drama online. But he wasn't going to let her lies define him either. He emailed the attorney again, attaching the evidence, asking to expedite the process. Then he opened a new note. Steps forward. First entry. Run tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. He wasn't sure what came next, but he knew one thing. He'd face it on his terms, not hers. Ava's latest Instagram post hit like a gut punch. Her with Michael Reynolds, arms linked, caption New Beginnings. Just days after Jake kicked her out, she was flaunting her affair, rewriting their marriage as a cage she'd escaped. The comments cheered her on, oblivious to the truth. Jake's anger flared, but he didn't lash out. Instead, he doubled down, cutting her out of his life and building a new one, step by deliberate step, while Ava's narrative began to crack. Jake, the 32-year-old Denver software engineer, was done playing the fool. After confronting Ava with proof of her affair, the receipt, the hotel confirmation, the bistro photo, and changing the locks, he'd braced for her counterattack. Her Instagram stories, painting herself as a liberated victim, were exactly that. Each post twisted the knife. A selfie with tear-streaked cheeks, a quote about breaking free, now this bar photo with Reynolds. Jake saved each one, not for revenge, but to ground himself in the reality she was trying to erase. The morning after Ava's New Beginnings post, Jake met with his divorce attorney, Lauren, a sharp woman with a no-nonsense vibe. He laid out everything. The receipt for $2,143 earrings sent to him, Reynolds in Chicago, the hotel booking, the messages, the photos. Lauren nodded, flipping through the evidence. This is solid, she said. Colorado's no-fault divorce state, but this helps with asset division. She's not subtle, is she? Jake shook his head. She's rewriting history. Lauren advised filing immediately and securing their joint accounts. Jake agreed, signing the paperwork to start the process. Back home, he tackled the digital remnants of their life together. He removed Ava from their shared bank account, changed the passwords on their cloud drive, and canceled their joint gym membership. Each action felt like peeling away a layer of their shared past. His phone buzzed. Ethan again, their mutual friend. Asterisk, Ava's telling people you were controlling. You good? Asterisk, Jake typed back. Asterisk, I'm fine. She's lying. You'll see. Asterisk, he didn't elaborate. Ethan didn't need the details yet. By afternoon, Jake noticed a shift online. Ava's latest post had fewer likes than usual. A comment from an unfamiliar account, Katie_please, caught his eye. Asterisk, new beginnings? What about the guy you were married to? Asterisk, it was deleted within an hour, but others followed. This feels off. Hope everyone's okay. Jake didn't know Katie, but her comment echoed his thoughts. Ava's carefully curated story was fraying. He didn't add to the noise. He wasn't going to fight her on her turf. Instead, he called his sister, Mia, who lived an hour away in Boulder. Mia met him at a coffee shop, her face tight with concern. I saw her posts, she said. She's making it sound like you pushed her away. Jake showed her the bistro photo and the hotel PDF. Mia's eyes widened. She was in Chicago with him? While we thought she was with me. Mia had been Ava's alibi for that trip. The betrayal stung her too. What do you need? She asked. Jake shrugged. Just keep being you. Don't let her spin this with you. Mia nodded, promising to set the record straight with their mutual friends. That evening, Jake joined a running club he'd found online, a small group that met at dawn near the Platte River. He wasn't a runner, but the rhythm of it, feet hitting pavement, breath steadying, felt like a reset. A woman in the group, Sarah, chatted with him after the run. New to this? She asked, smiling. Jake nodded, trying something new. She didn't pry, and he appreciated it. For the first time in weeks, he felt a flicker of lightness, untainted by Ava's shadow. Meanwhile, Ava's social media campaign continued. A new post showed her at a Denver art gallery, captioned, "Finding my spark again." Reynolds was tagged this time, his account public now. Jake clicked through. Photos of Reynolds in Chicago, Denver, even their apartment. Jake recognized the couch in one shot. The timeline matched Ava's client dinners. Jake added it to his notes. October 24th, Reynolds post, our apartment, dated last month. He forwarded it to Lauren, who replied, asterisk, this strengthens your case. Keep it clean, no contact, asterisk. The next day, a co-worker, Tom, pulled Jake aside at work. Ava called me, he said. Asked if you were okay. Said you shut her out. Jake raised an eyebrow. She's fishing. I'm done talking to her. Tom nodded, hesitant. She sounded off, like she's worried you'll expose her. Jake didn't respond. He didn't need to expose Ava. She was doing that herself. That night, Jake got an email from Ava. Asterisk, Jake, I messed up. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Can we meet? I owe you the truth. Asterisk, he stared at the screen, tempted to delete it. But something stopped him. Not hope, closure. He replied, asterisk, one meeting. Neutral ground. You talk. I listen. Asterisk, he wasn't sure what she'd say, but he knew one thing. Her words wouldn't change the facts. Ava's lies had built a wall, and Jake was already on the other side. Moving forward, Ava's email begged for a meeting, promising the truth, but Jake knew better than to expect honesty. Her Instagram posts, flaunting Michael Reynolds while painting herself as the victim, had already shown her hand. As Jake stepped into the cafe to hear her out, he wasn't looking for apologies. He wanted closure, to bury the last remnants of their marriage and walk away free. But Ava's words would test his resolve, forcing him to confront the final piece of her deception. Jake, the 32-year-old Denver software engineer, had spent weeks dismantling the life he'd built with Ava. The $2,143 receipt for earrings sent him, Reynolds in Chicago, the bistro photo, the hidden hotel booking, and the damning messages had exposed her affair. After changing the locks and filing for divorce, Jake focused on rebuilding, running with a new club, leaning on his sister Mia, and ignoring Ava's social media spin. Her latest post, tagged with Reynolds at their old apartment, had pushed him further away, but her email, I owe you the truth, pulled him to this meeting. The cafe was neutral ground, a quiet spot near downtown. Jake arrived early, choosing a corner table with a clear view of the door. Ava walked in at 2 p.m. sharp, her steps hesitant. She sat across from him, hands clasped, eyes fixed on the table. No Instagram filters here, just raw, unscripted tension. Jake didn't speak, letting the silence press her to start. I messed up, she said finally, voice low. Michael, it wasn't planned. I was lonely, Jake. You were always working, and I felt invisible. Jake's jaw tightened. He'd heard this before, her attempt to shift blame. He slid a single photo across the table. Ava and Reynolds on their old couch, his hand on her knee, her smile too familiar. This, he said, isn't loneliness. It's a choice. Months of lies, Ava. Chicago, the earrings, the dinners. You built a life with him while I was still here. Her eyes flicked to the photo, then away. I know, she whispered. I didn't mean to hurt you. Then why lie? Jake's voice stayed calm, but it cut. You didn't just cheat. You erased me. Made me the villain online while you played the hero. Ava flinched, her fingers twisting together. I panicked, she said. When you found the receipt, I didn't know how to explain. Michael was an escape. I thought I could keep it separate, but it spiraled. She paused, then added, I'm ending it with him. I want to fix this. Jake leaned back, studying her. Part of him wanted to believe her, to see the Ava he'd loved for 7 years. But that Ava was gone, replaced by someone who'd lied without blinking. There's nothing to fix, he said. You chose him every time you lied. Every post you made. You're only here because you got caught. Ava's eyes welled up, but she didn't cry. I'm sorry, she said. I know I can't undo it, but I need you to know I didn't want this. Jake stood, the photo still on the table. You didn't want to get caught, he corrected. That's the difference. He walked out, leaving her with the image and her words. The air outside felt lighter, like he'd shed a weight he'd carried too long. He didn't look back. The next week, Jake finalized the divorce paperwork with Lauren, his attorney. Ava didn't contest it, signing over their shared assets without a fight. Her Instagram went quiet. No more cryptic posts, no more Reynolds. A mutual friend, Ethan, texted Jake. Asterisk heard Ava moved to Chicago. You okay? Asterisk Jake replied, better than okay. He meant it. He'd started running daily, the Platte River Trail becoming his sanctuary. The running club, especially Sarah, offered easy conversation, no pressure. She'd invited him to a group hike, and he'd said yes, his first real step toward something new. One evening, Jake went to a local art exhibit, drawn by a flyer Sarah had mentioned. He wandered through, pausing at a painting, a single red slash on a gray canvas. It felt honest, raw like his own journey. A woman nearby, Emily, glanced at the same piece. Sometimes silence says more, she remarked, her tone casual but kind. They talked briefly about art, not pain. No numbers exchanged, just a moment of connection that left Jake lighter. Back home, Jake deleted his saved notes, the receipts, photos, timelines. He didn't need them anymore. The divorce was filed, the apartment was his, and Ava's lies no longer defined him. He opened his laptop, not to dig, but to plan. He booked a solo trip to the mountains, something he'd always wanted but Ava had dismissed. His phone buzzed, a group chat from the running club, joking about the upcoming hike. Jake smiled, typing a quick reply. Ava's betrayal had broken something, but it hadn't broken him. He'd faced her lies, her rewritten narrative, and come out stronger. The truth wasn't hers to control anymore. It was his. And for the first time in months, Jake felt still, grounded, ready to build a life that didn't need an audience, just honesty.